I've been training sellers and elite sales teams for over 13 years, and I've discovered what really sits at the heart of excellence in selling. I learned the hard way. I learned by failing myself. I was broke, I was evicted, and then I learned the principles that make you exceptional in sales. These are in no particular order, but the reality is this first one is so important. Number one, always be prospecting. And I mean always prospecting. If a day goes by without prospecting, you've probably dropped the ball on your dreams, you've dropped the ball on your goals. Always be prospecting. And rule number two is keep your pipeline deep. Pipeline is the alpha and the omega of selling. The more sales teams I work with, the more this principle is reinforced. The strength of my conviction is directly proportional to the depth of my pipeline. My pipeline's my shield. It's my shield to the market. No market can hurt me. No change in the economy can hurt me. No prospect can hurt me. No from a big deal that I want to close can hurt me. If I've got a deep pipeline. Pipeline is my shield. Prospecting is my sword. Principle number three. We sell with our ears, we don't sell with our mouths. The number of sellers I meet who love to pitch. They love their features and benefits. Oh, it's such an exercise in vanity to think for a moment that your prospect is that moved by your product, by your features and benefits. It's their problems that are creating the emotion to buy, not the features, not the benefits. Nothing you can say is really going to move that prospect. What's going to move a prospect to a great decision are the things the prospect says. I always say to my clients, the science of selling is knowing what to say and when it should be said, but the art is getting your prospect to say it. We do that with our ears, not with our mouths. If you're speaking, you're probably getting it wrong. Principle number four, and this is where I'm going to lose all of you because nobody wants to hear it. It's never about the price. I know how comfortable it is to believe it is about the price. I know how that protects your ego. I know how that externalization, when it's not my fault, it's the price's fault. And I also know that your prospect tells you it's about the price, but it's never about the price. I have never in 13 years of analyzing sales calls, probably tens of thousands of sales calls, have I ever legitimately found a deal that was ever about the price. Never about the price, always about the fit, and it's a brutal on your ego to recognize it. Because as soon as I take the price excuse away, well, now it's down to my skill, my commitment, my conviction, my set of beliefs, and that's way harder on your ego. But every day you've got a choice. Am I going to feed my family or am I going to feed my ego? And when you're in selling, you've got to feed your family. Principle number five. You think you're walking into a pitch, you're really walking into a discovery. Now, I also have some sympathy that it's a mutual discovery. For sure. You're discovering about your prospect is discovering about you and your solution. Even better, your prospect is discovering something about themselves, about their own issues that they've got to solve, about their own processes, their own challenges, the way those challenges impact on their own lives. The major discovery is not what they discover about you, and it's not what you discover about them. It's actually what they discover about themselves. It is not a presentation, guys. The presentation is kind of the cover story for the meeting. It's always a discovery. And when we think about it as a discovery, we'll behave differently, we'll act differently, we'll ask different questions. It's a discovery. Principle number 6. A yes beats a no, we know that, but a no beats a maybe, and that's where most sellers make a mistake. That's what fills pipelines with hopium. You're living on Hope Island, population 1, because you're so frightened of a no that you'd rather take a maybe. The maybe is the worst outcome from a sales call. Every sales call you should look for a yes, absolutely. You should be comfortable with a no. We should always learn a lesson. We can always get a clear future, but a maybe is not a legitimate outcome from a sales meeting. People make the mistake of thinking sellers are addicted to yeses, to money. I don't think that's true. Sellers are repulsed by no's, and it's a mistake. No is the second best answer that you can get out of a sales call. Don't take maybes out of a sales call. Principle number 7, professional salespeople practice daily. Do you know professionals in every other pursuit, from sports to pilots to surgeons, they're constantly sharpening their sword. They're constantly practicing. And yet for some reason, professional sellers almost want to wear it as a badge of honor that they've got some kind of natural innate talent that doesn't need to be honed. It's nonsense. Professionals practice daily in every pursuit. And I've noticed that any sales team, any elite sales team really own practicing daily. In my experience, amateurs practice till they get it right. Professionals practice till they can't get it wrong. Principle number 8, we qualify hard to close easy. And most sellers I see in the marketplace are qualifying way too easy and then complaining that the close is way too hard. Most sellers, before I start working with them, what would qualify a prospect for a quote, for a pitch, for all your magic knowledge? What would qualify a prospect for that? Have you got a pulse and a credit card? Pulse optional. In my experience, that's what makes the difficult close. You can't qualify easy and then complain that it's hard to close a prospect. It's a reflection of your qualification. You want to close easy? Qualify real hard. Qualify on the problem. A compelling, emotionally connected problem to solve. Qualify on economic fit. Is there a fit between your price point and the prospect's economic framework? And qualification number 3 is decision-making process. Are you speaking to a decision maker, and can you fit your process into the way they want to make a decision? Qualify hard to close easy. Principle number 9, whilst it might not be the most important, it's probably my favorite. And this is something to carry into every sales call. The process is mine, the decision is yours. That's what I'm thinking whenever I'm meeting a prospect. The process, the sales process is mine. You know why? Because I know how to sell. You don't know how to buy. The decision though, that's yours. I'll keep my hands off your decision if you'll keep your hands off my process. This is what that means. If my process says I have an introductory call, and from my introductory call, I'm going to have a discovery call, and that discovery call maybe is 60 to 90 minutes long. I know it sounds like a lot, but if it's important, it's not a lot. 60 to 90 minutes long, and at the end of that meeting, there's going to be a simple decision to make, not an indigestible decision, not an unreasonable decision, but a simple decision that takes the deal to the next phase. If that's my process, then I am not going to relinquish that process. And my prospects I know are going to try and arm wrestle the process from me. They always do. They want to make my 90 minutes a 30-minute meeting. They want to take a maybe out of that call. They're going to want to introduce new decision makers that we hadn't spoke about. In 500 different ways, they're going to try and own my process. But guys, the process is mine and the decision is yours. Principle number 10, shy kids get no sweets. That's what my mum used to tell me back in England. Little Carlos, she used to say, shy kids get no sweets. You got to ask for what you want. And I review sales call after sales call with so many of my clients, and they're uncomfortable. They're uncomfortable with the fact that they're there selling. They're uncomfortable asking for an outcome. And I've seen the power of what I call big, brave asks. If you want an outcome, ask for it. You will be amazed at what people will give you if you ask. Principle number 11, sales is a follow-up game. Not everybody's going to buy straight after the discovery meeting. Not everybody's going to accept a discovery meeting even from the first cold call or from the first email. We have a system of follow-up relentlessly. And for those of you who think, well, Carlos, we don't want to be annoying, right? Do you know what? I don't really mind being annoying. You know why? Because I'm here to feed my family. I'm not here to feed my ego. Now, what I'm not going to be is disrespectful. If somebody wants out, they're out. But until then, I'm following up with a system. Principle number 12, sounds obvious, and of course it is obvious, sell to decision makers only. Of course that's obvious, but nobody does it. Everybody's selling to influencers. Everyone's selling to champions. Everybody's looking in the mirror and congratulating themselves because they've got a champion or they've got an influencer. Do you know what's faster? Get to the decision maker, sell to the decision maker. And there are always ways to the decision maker, especially if you start high rather than starting low.